someone's asked me a question, what is the higher self? The higher self is a star, a spark from heaven. And it's come down from heaven, sparking away at every level as it comes down. But the true anchor is you. And the sparks that come down are allies or sparks of your higher self, which become allies as you are anchored into the physical in the baby's body, or into an energy that exists on another level of reality within this anchor point, which is Gaia, the main anchor point. So when you came down, so did Gaia, and so did all the other soul families come down from this one point at the top. And we are all anchored in to Gaia, but we're all helping each other on the tree of life, on all these levels. And we are actually each other's allies. So I have allies, you have allies, and we help other allies. We have so many allies that it almost runs into infinity, because at every step of our growth, our ascension, we are accessing other sparks and we work together. There's no dissidence, there's no conscious mind involved in this, there's no mist, it just is what it is. To visit another level as a spark, anchor point, you need to depend on others. You cannot do it yourself. You don't have the energy to come up from the physical and do it yourself. So a part of ascension is realizing that your higher self is truly others' higher self, and that we're all sharing this one bond of source energy that's come down with us. So when we connect to source, truly, it's a collective. It's not an individual energy, it's a collective energy. And we are all in it together, all sparking around and swapping places sometimes. And this is happening on a level that isn't often visible by the conscious self in the past. But now, since the end of the Mayan calendar and the eye of the needle, the awareness of these subtle layers going up and going down, we're starting to all connect to our subconscious power. It's all coming up. And there's a lot of shadow work to do with that. But the higher self is running the show. So when you came down from the top level, you had an agreement. Mine was compassion. I meant to bring compassion here. So I come from the pink level, and along the way down, I made agreements with certain allies, certain sparks of mine. So we're doing this as a team. We're doing it all together. And the lower I vibrated, the more concrete and fine details of little mini contracts, mini missions I call them, that you don't have to take part in, because if you learn a lesson and you're holding compassion in your heart, then you can skip over it. So you're on a path with your higher self, and if there's a little something gets in your way, rubs you the wrong way, or provides friction that you don't feel you need, you will jump over it. If it bothers you enough to stay in your mind for more than 3 seconds, then it's a bit of a pile. So what I would like you to do is, when something aggravates you, go into the place of compassion. And if it's still there, then there's something in that for you. There's a lesson. And your higher self would like you to look a bit more closely at it. But if it just washes away and you don't even remember it, then you don't remember it and you're on your path again. So compassion from the heart is really the way we connect to the higher spirit, on the compassionate level, because it accepts everything about us and accepts all of our levels that we chose to experience. And it was an experience coming down, and it was an experience making contracts, and it's a history that you don't remember. But when you move into compassion, then everything just starts fitting together, because you're not worried about paths of nonsense on the path. Your path is clear. So you can reach through compassion, and when your higher self, or your subconscious as we call it in QHHT, comes in, it will knock the walls or the gate. It can be wood, it can be metal, and it will only come in when you reach a certain compassionate vibration that holds your power. And with this power, you can reach any level. You can reach the bottom, you can reach the top. So all depends on what you want to do. But when you expand in compassion and the heart energy boosts the Taurus, then your higher self has room to come down. There's more space here in the ether, because truly you are really just floating in a bubble. The laws of this realm say that you have weight, you have gravity, but in actual fact, you're in a void, in a bubble, protective bubble. And when you make space in the bubble for the higher self, it expands out. Your light expands out. And then, if you're lucky enough to do this in the dream world, or astral traveling, then you may light up the bubble so much that you can go out of the bubble and you can see what reality really is on different levels and at different places. So the highest spirit is your energy outside of this bubble. And this bubble, this Taurus here on the physical world, is the conscious mind reflected back to you. So it's almost like it's a screen and it's coming back to you, but it's to protect what's on the outside of the bubble from you, because your energy is so powerful that you can manifest so quickly, that you manifest your reality right now without even knowing. So there are protections in place because you are a master, and you can't drop these protections unless you prove that you are at the level that you're allowed to do that. So the proof is in the pudding, and the proof is your energy that is being expanded, and they can see that. So you can't hide that. You just have to embody it as much as you can and practice until it changes the way you talk, the way you think, the way you view life. And then that is something that you may access at a higher level. So if you are determined to be grumpy, miserable, pitiful, playing the victim, then you have the ability to access lower levels and you can make changes there. So sometimes God will put people in certain circumstances to experience these low vibrations. So they're there to catch another person, to help them ascend, and it's all working perfectly. You are so loved and you are doing a wonderful job. You're helping physical reality to develop and learn and express itself and undo a lot of blockages that were done in the cities. So your higher self is on a mission to help Earth by moving the people, move the people's energy. So when you're acting in an angry way or whatever way you want to do, you are actually doing some good because you're giving people an opportunity to give you compassion. We can step into our compassionate place, and that may take a long time to learn, and it's not easy. But when you're in the place of compassion, you don't take anything personally. You're just seeing everyone as having their own lovely experience, even if that means they're yelling and they're jumping up and down and they're angry. And you have the opportunity then to speak your truth. And if you do it from a place of compassion, then it's either not going to do anything, or it will give that person some self-reflection, which is what the bubble's meant to do. But sometimes they need us to step in and do it for them because they get lost in that bubble. They think it's real, but it's just like a hologram, and it just keeps replaying and rebooting the old worries and hurts that we had. Because when we came down here in our higher self, it was so shocking to be born in a sterile environment, and you're alone with the doctor. I don't really remember much of my mum when I was born. I just remembered the metal tables and the room was quite sparse. And then I've blocked everything out for a couple of years after then. But you have to be very brave to come here and be born. So, babies are heroes just for going through that. And so your inner child, if it's given compassion, what it will do is have space to grow into your body. Because sometimes it gets stuck at that baby stage where we did feel betrayal. We felt betrayal. And, being born in a cold, kind of not very heartwarming place, and hopefully many babies have had compassion experiences, but some babies didn't. So we've hidden that memory in our subconscious, and it can come up during ascension, having memories of being a baby. But the higher self wants you to know that journey alone makes you a winner. Okay, so there's nothing you can't handle because you went it alone. At the very last moment, you were alone. You made the journey alone without your allies, and your higher self was like protected, like a little seed. And so now the inner child grows through compassion for yourself and compassion for others. then the seed meets the bubble, and then it actually will take the bubble down because it won't need protection anymore, and it will be open to what's going around. Now, at first, when that happens, it can get overwhelming, and then you have full-on multi-dimensional experiences in the physical, where it's like you melt away, because you literally are melting away in that conscious mind construct which is the bubble, which protects you, is just melting. And so it can get a bit rocky and it can get tough, but it only has to last a few hours. You can bring it back. You can go, okay, I've got a boost, and it's coming out as creative energy, or I literally can just feel so many energies. That is my higher self connecting to more of my higher self and more of my higher self. And then it just keeps expanding out. And what you create is a bigger bubble which fits allies in it. So that is the stage of true transformation, because they and you work together to change the physical. So that is really the goal we want to do. With astral traveling, lucid dreaming and all that they're tools you can use to understand your allies on the other side. But what we want to do is expand the bubble here on the physical. So having these extraordinary, miraculous moments while awake, while in this reality, is bringing the higher self in, making space for our allies to come in, which is really just other sparks of our one true original source. Source is like an onion. It just has layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. And our original source is a collective energy, and it involves all of mankind and all of the ETs, all of the angels, every single one of us. We come from that particular star source. But that star source comes from another tree somewhere else. So something gave life to that one source that we all come from. So you see that that's God, but also it came from a higher vibration, a higher God, and this goes into infinity. So you have the ability as a human being to embody source, break out of your bubble, and then you have more options later on when you pass over, or even now, you'll have more options to experience more realities if you want to. But you need allies. You need allies. So unless you have those allies that can boost your energy and team up and take you, you're not going to another reality. The only time, another super reality. I've got to say super universe in another super reality. The only time you would do that is if you're a visitor from that place and then you've come here. But it is not something that computes into human belief system. So we won't even try to go there because it just defies all concepts in the conscious mind. But you see that there is lots and lots and lots of growth, more than you could ever imagine. So what we think of our source is learning as well about its origins through us and who it is and what qualities it has through these spirit families, these soul families that have filtered down, and they've just spread everywhere. There's 25 years ago, there were channels, and they said there was probably 6 or 7 families of angels, that everyone belonged to a family. And for me, if I was to say I belong to a family, it'd probably be Archangel Michael energy. It's always come up in my life. Michael's my favorite name. I named my son Michael. I love Michael Jackson. I've met Michael Jackson in the spirit world, and my first love was Michael, and he wasn't even physical. He was an imaginary friend. So the Michael energy with the sword is a part of my makeup, and what it does as an angel of compassion from the compassionate field, I need that sword to look after myself. So Michael's energy has come in as an ally, but I also believe that that definitely Michael is a part of the compassionate energy where I'm from. But he's just one aspect that protects it. And then other aspects will support that protection.